if we have anything going on outside the sanctuary or need to just kind of, the anchors can be used in an emergency situation. If you like lose steering or something like that, you can drop an anchor to kind of prevent your boat from drifting off anywhere while you wait for help. Down here we have just kind of some hatches that go into like forward, we call them voids. So yeah, if you look way down, you'll see that white pump at the bottom. That's called a bilge pump. That basically goes off and lets us know if there's any water in the hull, which we don't want happening, and it usually doesn't happen, but that is there as a safety precaution, so it'll alarm to us on the vessel and start pumping out the water. So that way we know. And each compartment has their own separate bilge pump, so we have a panel that lets us know like where water is coming in, so then you can respond accordingly and be like, okay, there's water on this side right here, and kind of find what the source is. So yeah, that's cool. Our searchlight up there. That's very useful when navigating at night, trying to avoid, like, crab pots are really common in this river, so we don't want to run those over. Also a dive platform, so these right here are dive tank racks, so we can store scuba tanks while we're transiting to Grays Reef. And then this is our emergency man overboard life ring, so if that were to happen, someone would toss this overboard, so that one, you have a mark in the water that's bright enough for the boat operator to see where a person might have fallen off overboard, and two, it gives a flotation device for someone in the water to swim to and hold on to until they can be retrieved. It lights up, and so if you have a man overboard at night, you throw this in, it lights up, and it shows you where people are. Ooh. Yeah, so lots of safety equipment on board, lots of neat little things.
That's good.
This is just another entrance into the bathroom, so that if divers come off and they're all soaking wet, they don't walk through the boat and they can keep the inside of the boat dry, go in that way. Again, an outdoor shower for divers to rinse off salt water when they come back up. A sink to wash some hands. Back here we have one of our platforms, so this is where divers will go into the water. They'll do like a giant step off the back, and then this dive ladder will also be deployed for them to come back up once they're done with their dives. We do black sea bass tagging, so our science team will catch black sea bass, and if it's of a certain size, they'll make like a tiny little incision, and they have these tiny little tags that they put under the skin, stitch it back up really quickly, and put them back in the water. It's actually a really neat operation. They have like a cooler with a pump and ventilation and water coming in, so they take the fish, put it in that little cooler, do their little tiny operation, and send it back down. And the acoustic receivers that we have out there and actually ping the little tags that the black sea bass have on them, so they can track which tag and where the sea bass is moving throughout the sanctuary. It's really neat. So this is our little 12-foot skiff. It's another way for us to have multiple dive operations going on at once, so we can deploy this with an operator and 2 divers, and they can go off to another section of the reef as long as they're within 2 miles of this vessel. And so then we can have a dive team operating off of this vessel at one station, and then this one can be at another station somewhere in the reef with another dive team. So that way we can collect more data in a day than just having people going off of one boat. And the cool part about this little setup is once this is taken off the boat, these actually fold up and come together and make a dive bench, so divers can set up all their gear and have it ready to go and sit here before they get in the water.
Wow.
Yep. And then this right here is our A-frame. So this is what we use to deploy this boat. We can also use it for scientific equipment. So on the left over here we have our scientific winch with that metal line. So that actually can be set up and hooked up to CTDs to get like water quality data, temperature, depth, conductivity, and it has a feeder that goes into like the rest of the boat in our lab, so we can see the depth of it and different data points when that line is being deployed. And then the other line, the nylon line, is our hauling winch. So that one doesn't give us any like data output or anything like that, but it does allow us to, you know, pick up objects, put things down, put things in the water, whether it's like a buoy deployment or letting an ROV or AUV go over the side, stuff like that. So very cool little operation
Yeah.
through there. Here's the engine room, one of the engine rooms.
We match on both sides, 8.3 liter combos.
The only difference is this side has our generator on this side, and then that side has our our sewer system basically for the toilets and stuff.
Good.
And that's what our engines look like over there. So yeah, it's a tight little space, but we can get in there, crawl around, check on things, check the oil levels and all that stuff.
And then those other hatches, they expose like some of this down area as well,
Yeah,
right?
so all the hatches expose areas under the boat, and the reason we have separate hatches is because not all the compartments are connected. So this is the only way to access the engine room. And then, so there's a hatch back here because that accesses another point on the boat, which that's not where our steering is. So if we were to lose steering in an emergency, you could actually have someone with a radio up here driving the boat telling us where to go, and another person down there hand steering the rudder and moving it. Yeah, so lots of cool little built-in safety features all throughout.
Okay, so if anything happened to this vessel, it's gonna take a lot to
and
get
you'll always
into
be calling the Coast Guard for help. That's for sure. All right, so we can come on in.
Or evacuate.
So in here is our dry lab area. So we have a whole station for scientists to set up. This is where they can hook up all their technology, computers. And then this is actually what I was talking about earlier with the scientific winch that gives you like the depth and the feedback of how far out your wire is going. That all can be shown right here. Over here we have our head, which also has like a full shower capabilities. So the faucet here actually stretches out and hooks up there, so divers can come in and clean up. Small little galley area, so people can bring their lunches, have some coffee, eat while they're here. Our nice little seating area as well. So this is great for like meetings, pre-departure planning, safety briefs, all that. Another little dry lab area for people to put their workstations. And then if you want to go down below, there's light on.
Oh wow,
This is our lower berthing area. So this is just for crew. So our operational area for this vessel is North Carolina all the way down to Cape Canaveral, Florida. So if we ever needed to pull into a different port, this would be for the vessel captain and crew to sleep overnight on the boat in port. So there's 3 different bunks. Each one has its own light, with a red light and a white light, which you can actually so at night, to maintain night vision and stuff, you keep red lights on. And then a station for you to plug in your phone, charge whatever. There's a shelf back there if you have like books or want to read. So that's kind of that. And then an emergency escape hatch right here. So another safety feature.
Good.
So if there's ever an emergency, you can just get right out. And a separate little AC control. So this is kind of the main control station for the whole boat. You've got all of our electronics panels. So this is controls literally everything. Our engines, our lights, our refrigerator, our AC, all powered from here. Electronics for the whole bridge.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all of that it's amazing, the tech that went into this boat.
Oh wow.
And then a lot of it's rigged for future tech too. That was the beauty.
Yeah.
So we can expand and do more things.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
We've got our security cameras here, which these are really important, having cameras in the engine rooms, because then you can see if there's smoke or anything going on, like, or if a pipe bursts, you can see it right there and know, you know, all right, we got a situation going on. Also great that we can see our aft deck, so that way if the boat operator is in here while there's scientists out back deploying gear or equipment, whoever's operating the vessel can see that everyone is safely on board, or if they see something they don't like, they can halt the operation, tell them to stop, fix something. So that's really great that we have that. This is our navigation unit, so we can actually input different track lines in here to show us where safe water is, our route, and all that, and it will tell us each point, like your ETA to that turn or stuff like that. So it's a really cool system, shows you all sorts of different navigational hazards, all that. So you can actually see, I can zoom out real far. Gray's Reef is actually, it's also touchscreen.
Wow.
So Gray's Reef is actually way down here. This is Gray's Reef. So this is where we're going for most of our work, and we're coming all the way from up here.
I'm gonna show you like the ETA.
So it usually takes us about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get out on our old vessel. Hopefully this one it'll be more like an hour and a half to get out there. It depends on the seas. If there's rougher weather, you know, we have to go slower, so it could take a little longer. But this is where we are right now.
Oh, that's so cool, high tech.
Yeah. This is our depth finder, so this is showing everything kind of under the vessel. So right now there's 20 feet of water underneath us, underneath our lowest point on the boat, and this is kind of like what the seafloor looks like under us. And you can also see like if there's a big school of fish, they'll kind of show up on there, so it's kind of neat to watch. This is our engine controls, so throttle to go for your speed and stuff like that. The helm for steering, which actually we have this big helm here, but a lot of time when we're steering we actually use this little toggle instead. Yep, so we can like do that, and this will show us, this is our rudder angle indicator, so it shows us how far over our rudder is as we're steering. And then we also have autopilot, which is if you're doing like a big transit, you'll set it to a course and just set auto. And then, like I said, how we can set a track line here, the autopilot can connect to the track line and actually steer the vessel on and know when to make a turn and stuff like that.
That is so cool.
And then this is just our engine reading. So when the engines are on, this shows like your RPMs, your temperatures, oil levels, all that. Our horn that you guys heard earlier. And then these are all of our navigation lights and stuff like that, because it's important to have different lights on the vessel to show, you know, especially at night. So yeah, this is kind of our main control center.
And what's this right here?
So this is our like alarm panel and monitoring. So this will show you different feedback and information. Right now we have it set to like where the wind direction is, our speed, time, but we can also monitor like any alerts if we have an alarm go off, which we haven't had any. And then fuel tanks or fuel level, how much diesel we have in each engine, how much fuel we have until we're empty. So that's really important when we're underway to monitor that. And then we also have our water tank levels, so how much fresh water we still have on board, how full our wastewater tank is, if we need to pump it out, all sorts of information on here. Alarm indicators again. This is so those bilge pumps I was telling you about, where if it tells you like, oh no, there's water in your little port void, that would light up wherever the water is to let you know.
And then I just saw these. These are your like speakers for the rest of the boat.
So these are our radios. These are our VHF radios. So this is what we have turned on at all times, monitoring VHF channels 16 and 13. So that's the Coast Guard hailing and distress station, as well as just stations to communicate with other vessels. And then there's this unit right here is a loud hailer for the boat. So you can talk to, there's different speakers set up throughout the vessel. So if I needed to wake someone up who's sleeping down below, I can just hit IC1 berthing and be like, hey George, I need you up here on the bridge. And there's a little speaker down there that will, and he can actually talk back too. So he can be like, okay, I'm on my way up, and come up. And we also have it down on the back deck. So if the scientists, we need to let them know something, we can just get on here, talk to them. Hey, chief scientist, like we're 5 minutes away from the station, and she can talk back and be like, okay, sounds good, we're getting ready. So lots of cool technology built in to the vessel as well.
Mayday.
Yeah. Hopefully we never have to make that call. And then these are our immersion suits. So this is another emergency safety thing. It's for cold water. Usually you put them on if you have to abandon ship, and it's just a big, we call them Gumby suits because it's head to toe, zipped in. They float. They keep you warm. And we practice every year with everyone on board, putting them on and off in under a minute. That's the goal. So we try to make it fun for the drills and stuff with that. Awesome. But yeah, so those are stored up here, and we always make sure that we're carrying the number of people on board. We have a suit for everybody. All of our extra ones are stored up forward.
Awesome.
So yeah.